A very good evening. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. My name is Sharon Chomjasha with Nakakoni Elizabeth on sign language, taking you through the UBC News Bulletin News Tonight. Let's take a look at the headlines. Lango MPs call for faithful renewal. Limoto wetland restoration registers progress. Moving on, Buginyanya receives 630 million for enhancing pasture production. Now, members of the Lango Parliamentary Group have challenged Christians across the country to embrace faith renewal with God through holy living. Ajuri County Member of Parliament Hamson Oboa challenges pilgrims to desist from evil acts during pilgrimage in Namgongo. He said this during a solidarity visit by members of the Lango Parliamentary Group to pilgrims from Lira Diocese in northern Uganda. Okurut has a detailed report.
A light moment was shared at the right time as pilgrims from Lira Diocese settled in to join their colleagues from other dioceses across the country. Members of Parliament from Lango sub-region were here to express solidarity with these people whom they describe as warriors of God.
The
MPs were led by Betty Amongi, the Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development.
As leaders, we recognize that their commitment is based on honoring those who sacrifice their lives in defense of their faith, religious beliefs, and their principle. They died here, and therefore we come to recognize and honor our people who have walked in pursuit of honoring the martyrs that died for us.
But as they shared light moments, what they met were challenges narrated to them by these pilgrims from Lango.
There are people who fell sick, there are people who had several challenges, they lacked food, so we have donated 4 million shillings to help them with the challenges that they are facing, and we have pledged to them that in the years coming, they have requested that we should always stand with them, and beginning in the next year, we shall always be meeting them prior to the day of the celebration.
We are happy that year in, year out, the number of pilgrims coming to Namugongo is slowly but surely on the increase. We want to appeal to all the people of Uganda, to all Christians of all walks of life, that Namugongo is a place where we can renew our faith, where we can renew our faith from within Uganda. Namugongo is our Rome, Namugongo is our Israel. It is important that we dedicate one day in a year and we come for purposes of renewing and revamping our faith in God.
Pilgrims from Lango Diocese are said to be the highest in number this year, standing at 700. They are here to renew their faith in God as all eyes in the country focus on Matters Day celebration slated for Monday, 3rd June 2019. Henry Okurut, UBC.
In more stories, the Prime Minister, Dr. Hakana Rugunde, has urged the youth to be constructive in order to guard and maintain the peace prevailing in the country. Now, he said the young generation has a role to play in transformation of the country. The Premier made the remarks at the Kwinjira ceremony of Ben Kavier's daughter, which took place in the Antonde district, Kabura village. The function was attended by ministers, the clergy and members of parliament, among others.
Prime Minister Dr. Rakana Rugunda led a delegation of 160 people to the home of businessman Ben Kavia in the Yantonde district for a traditional marriage giveaway ceremony called Kuhinjira of Chivaju Blanche Kavia to Joshua Byabashaija. The Premier, who has been a father figure in the life of Joshua Byabashaija, the groom, commended him for being exemplary in terms of embracing unity in the family and ensuring that he is responsible, traits he acquired from his father, the late Tibalimbasa, who was a politician and a member of the academia.
The children played a critical role, not only Joshua, because they actually remained close to the uncles and friends of Tiba. And for that matter, the children of Ndugu Avitas Tibalimbasa, you have also set a good example of what children should do. They should know who the friends of their parents are, and in case their parents or parent is absent, they should be able to build on the relationship that the friends on friends that were created by their parents.
Ben Kavia, the father to the bride, noted that he approves of the union because Joshua and Blanche complement each other. He also thanked the Prime Minister Dr. Rakana Rugunda for supporting the family of the groom after Tibalimbasa passed on.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, you people, a man is tested in difficult times. The friend died, you stood by him in his absence, stood by his orphans, stood by his wife, for no interest but to see them be better people. And I want to thank this delegation of Kawari. Blanche has been such an independent girl that all through her studies, she has been independent, she's grounded. She must ask questions for you to satisfy her to know the right answer.
Bishop Emeritus for Chigezi Diocese, George Katwesije, in his sermon, urged the couple to ensure that their marriage life is built on prayer and also to stick to their vows by forgiving one another in order for peace and harmony to prevail in the union.
That prays together stays together.
Blanche, the bride, was given 100 cows, a house in Imbia, and a plot of land in Entebbe as part of her giveaway ceremony items. Dorina Sasra, Bulletin for UBC.
Well, congratulations to the daughter of Mr. Kavia. In more stories, in this letter to the King of England in 1875, the Kabaka of Buganda requested him to send missionaries to his land to teach his people. However, by the time these missionaries set foot in Uganda, another leader was in charge. Setumba has a detailed report.
A retired education administrator, a researcher and writer has been taking stock of the early preachers and explorers of the gospel of salvation. Gertrude Sekabira wants Ugandans to appreciate the courageous deeds of the martyrs and the missionaries who braved hurdles to reach Uganda at a time when means of transport were limited.
It was Mackay. He started the roads from the border inland, or I can say from the sea to inland, and many were eaten who were with him by lions. He made 230 miles, and when he came here he also did the same.
Sekabira says members of the clergy need to preach a holistic word of God at the pulpit.
Of just talking about God and waiting for miracle and manna from above, it encourages people to be lazy. And telling people who are ignorant without telling them to read, to know, to be knowledgeable, also is something that makes people not get right information.
Sekabira has written books on Alexander Murdoch Mackay, a missionary that was also known as Muzungu wa Kazi, meaning white man of work.
Because when he came, he made a practical Christianity. It was not only the Bible. He used the Bible to teach many things. He used the Bible for us to know how to read, write, and also count. But he also used it to make a practical life.
As we celebrate the Martyrs' Day, Gertrude Sekabira is of the view that one day off is not enough. Christians need more days to exhibit the social, economic, and political aspects as taught by the missionaries.
Program starting right from the beginning of mission work. How did these people come? What did they do as missionaries? What happened? How did it impact on these people so that we are able to emulate what the missionaries did?
Report compiled by Douglas Setumba, UBC News.
As thousands of pilgrims continue to trek to Uganda Martyrs Shrine Namgongo for Martyrs Day celebrations, different businesses have been set up within the shrine premises and surrounding areas. Now the business range from restaurants, clothing stalls, jewelry, soft drinks and jerry cans to pilgrims. To maintain hygiene, Uganda Plastics and Manufacturers Association has provided garbage bins around the shrine area. Emon Gabo has a detailed report.
As thousands of pilgrims continue to trek Uganda Martyrs Shrine in Namgongo for Martyrs Day celebrations this Monday, different businesses have been set up within the shrine premises and surrounding areas. The businesses range from restaurants, clothing stores, soft drinks and jerry cans to pilgrims. Outside the shrine, vending of different items is clearly seen everywhere amidst tight security. One can barely get where to pass as crowds along the main road are seen with movements all over the place. Well, as conducting business goes on, one item, the polythene, used to wrap all the merchandise is being used. Uganda Plastics and Manufacturers Association has had the distribution of 300 dustbins all over the shrines to dispose of garbage.
To begin with, we have a stock of 10,000 bins of this kind, which we have been circulating all over. We have given many places, business centers, and those we feel that even in schools, we single them out, say, take this, use them, so that we can always get this back. I want you, as institutions, to use it for Kavera collection, so that when these trucks come, we have so many trucks nowadays, even business-oriented, they pick all this waste and take it to the dumping points. So when they reach the dumping points, it's very easy for these collectors to pick them out and bring them to factories. So in Namugongo, what we did is we gave the dustbins, then we realized that people had a lot of Kavera there. When they had so much Kavera, we felt that it is important we get this Kavera from there, but also those who were lacking it and needed it, we say use it. It is a testing, a sample, how they will still bring it back to our factories.
They say that sensitization of nationals on waste is key to have a clean environment. Every June 3rd at the Uganda Martyrs Shrine, Namgongo, the Uganda Martyrs Day celebrations always attract hundreds of thousands of Christians from near and far in memory of the Catholic and Anglican martyrs who were killed on the orders of Kabaka Mwanga of Buganda.
Hello, my name is, as usual, Mr. Budget. Now, the major aim of decentralization is to bring services closer to the people. You see, majority of Ugandans are actually served by their local governments. The overall local government allocation for the next financial year is 3.8 trillion shillings. Good money, right? And 2.8 trillion shillings of this is recurrent expenditure, while 948 billion shillings is development expenditure. The big question though is this enough for local governments to bring services closer to their people? Let's find out together at the budget reading on the 13th of June 2019. Our budget, our responsibility. This message is brought to you by CS Bag, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and URA.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
You're still watching UBC News Tonight. Now, in more news, over 800 patients turned up at Kamuli District General Hospital for free treatment, organized by the National Drug Authority as it marks 25 years of existence this weekend. The Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Litwala Kadaga, who also doubles as the area woman member of Parliament, assured the country about government's readiness to increase on the number of medical workers, but still focused on the remuneration of the few available.
Kamuli District General Hospital has 3 medical doctors with no active ultrasound scan machine, no eye testers and other fundamental requirements, despite its huge geographical area coverage of 3 districts. As National Drug Authority marked 25 years of existence, it organized a medical camp to meet the medical needs of the people in the area.
Some people have not had access to treatment in the villages, far in the villages, because in the villages drugs are little and there are serious cases which are not treated in the villages, and these people don't have the capacity. Capacity means they don't have the money for transport.
But we have realized that actually we cannot run many of the things we expected to do because of the deficits in the equipment that the hospital. The hospital has equipment that is not functional and the rest of the equipment that are not available.
People who die in the villages far that way without treatment, without getting access to treatment, because the drugs are not available.
Deputy Secretary General Uganda Medical Association Dr. Brenda Kawala says they partnered with National Drug Authority to provide necessary assistance in the hospital.
More are dying out there in the villages. So the medical camp is basically to open our eyes to the realities that actually there is a gap. And the government needs to do more in recruiting more doctors. The government needs to do more in actually equipping the facilities. For example, we've come here and Kamuli Hospital has no ultrasound scan, a whole district hospital.
The Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, also doubles as Kamuli Woman Member of Parliament, assured the country that government is planning to increase the number of medical workers by first addressing the remuneration of medical workers.
It's also a request that we increase the doctors from 5,000 to 7,000, but I think the important thing is to address their whether their remuneration is good enough. If we can improve it, doctors will be able to.
The chairman, National Drug Authority, Dr. Meda Dibitechelezo, asked the Speaker for the Parliament support of a proposed legislation aimed at placing food and drugs regulation under the body's mandate.
Compared the National Food and Drug Authority
Kamuli District General Hospital has coverage of 3 districts of Kamuli, Buyende and Bukungu. Abdul Nasiri Luwama reporting.
Kanungu District Health Department is perturbed by a sudden rise in sexually transmitted diseases, prevalence including HIV and AIDS. Kanungu District Health Officer Dr. Stephen Sebude says over 1,000 cases are registered annually by the outpatient department, and sexually active persons between 18 years to 40 years are the most affected ones. He was at the Community Accountability Meeting, dubbed Baraza Forum, held at Rutenga Sub-County in Kanungu District by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Kanungu Health Officer Dr. Stephen Sebude has expressed concern over alarming sexually transmitted infections, including HIV/AIDS, in the district. Dr. Sebude attributed this to fishing and lumbering activities in the area, especially Rutenga Sub-County. An estimated 1,000 cases of 18 to 40 age bracket are reportedly infected annually in the district.
You normally get a lot of foreigners outside the Rutenga who come in for timber trade, and they come with a lot of money, and in the process they might be luring some of our younger ladies, and in the end they spread the sexually transmitted infections.
Negative attitude towards the use of condoms and multiple sexual partners are also fueling the prevalence of sexually transmitted infections in Kanungu district, especially in Rutenga sub-county.
People do not normally use condoms. We have condoms, enough condoms at the health facility. At the dispensing window, there are condoms. We distribute condoms to towns, lodges, and even in other places we give condoms to VHTs. But we get a high number of sexually transmitted infections in the sub-county.
The area member of parliament, Honorable Chris Bariomunsi, says a campaign against sexually transmitted infections is to be heightened to defer further infections in the area.
I have been assured that the Rutenga Health Center 3 has adequate stocks of condoms and other preventive devices. What we are going to do is to mount an educational campaign here in Rutenga to educate the masses, to sensitize them on what they need to do to prevent and avoid these sexually transmitted infections and other preventable diseases.
This was at Community Accountability Meeting preceded over by the Minister of State for Bunyoro Affairs, Ernest Kiza, at Rutenga Sub-County in Kanungu District.
So really it was a good interaction. We had very many people wanting to speak. We had about 52 questions. You can see the public is excited about this program, and we are carrying out this program all over the country. And in Kanungu we specifically chose Rutenga this time round.
Report compiled by Joseph Okau.
Now, a new school has been opened for the children of the recently relocated landslide survivors from around Mountain Elgon Regis to Bunambute, Lobulambuli Plains as well. The Permanent Secretary Office of the Prime Minister, Christine Guatude Chintu, says the primary school will open this week on Friday, 6th June 2019 within Bulambute resettlement. A health center, piped water, a food serving point and an administration office, among others, have already been set up to cater for the families that have just been relocated. Take a look.
As the recently relocated landslide survivors settle in their new houses, opportunities have begun to unfold.
Government has built these homes for them to move from the areas where they are vulnerable to a more settled place which is risk-free, almost risk-free from landslides. So that's why we are here.
All the children of the relocated families at secondary school level will get free education for at least a year, while those in primary a new school has been set up for them, complete with teachers.
School is going to start on Monday. Monday is a public holiday, it's the 3rd. But on the 5th of June, each child will be in school, and school will be here. So I came over to see it for myself that the district is going to provide the head teacher, whom I've met here, and the teachers who are going to manage and teach our children.
The Permanent Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister, Christine Guwatudechintu, says other facilities to help the Bunambuche community settle like food, clean water, health facilities, electricity, roads, and other basic necessities will be availed as need arises. Guwatudechintu was leading a team of senior government officials checking on landslide survivors, mainly from Bududa, that were recently relocated to Bunambuche, Bulambuli district.
So I personally came over to meet the people we have relocated, to assure them that all is well and we are doing what it takes to get all the services properly completed. Government has provided water. Each homestead has a water tap in front of the home, so that should ensure hygiene and sanitation.
Government has already built 101 houses for the households living in dangerous areas around Mount Elgon. At least 67 houses have already been allocated and are occupied by the landslide survivors.
With electricity and with a clean environment, these people's home improvement has been assured. But most important, they've been relocated from vulnerability to safety. And I think that this is one of the greatest government programs that touch the people directly.
The survivors are grateful to government for saving them from death due to possible fresh landslides as rain set in.
We thank the government of Uganda, all organizers, especially the disaster preparedness minister of that ministry.
An estimated 901 families out of the 100,000 living in fear of being covered by landslides around Mount Elgon are to be relocated to Bunambuche, Bulambuli district in a phased manner.
100 homes now. We are constructing an additional 150. We shall continue because we are going to construct a total of 900 homes. Where they have left, we have an agreement that they've signed. That land shall be gazetted and trees planted, because we do not want to encourage people to continue taking vacant occupation of those spaces which are put them at risk.
Habimana Deo, reporting for ABC News, Bunambuche, Bulambuli district.
Well, thank you, Permanent Secretary of the Office of the Prime Minister. Moving on, the Pentecostal Church has observed the relationship is vital in ensuring a steady family system. The head of Namirembe Christian Fellowship's Professor Simeon Kaiwa advises that restoration and reconciliation program will reinstate broken relationships. Take a look.
Counseling and guidance is important in a family because it ensures a stable relationship and child upbringing. Professor Simeon Kaiwa of Namirembe Christian Fellowship wants government to come up with a law on relationships, which is a foundation of development for every nation. This was contained in his sermon delivered at Namirembe Christian Fellowship in Kampala.
We're dealing with relationships concerning bodily friends and marriages, and even marriages that are like they are breaking already, or they are not as interesting as they used to be. All the things, and then also other things that where people separated, like political parties. I believe that God can do a wonderful thing in Uganda too.
Professor Kaiwa asserts that once restoration and reconciliation is practiced at workplace, families and churches, among others, relationships would be mended automatically.
I would like to advise people that 50% of all people that divide up can reconcile. 50% of people who divide up may never reconcile for some reasons that are impossible to overcome. But if we begin to think of restoration, some people who never thought about it can begin it, can try it, and that will be a milestone in our emotional intelligence in the country.
Namirembe Christian Fellowship Calvary Cross Choir, with over 200 choirs countrywide, composed songs with specific messages to help spread the gospel of restoration and reconciliation. Abraham Waiter Robert, UBC News.
The Indian High Commissioner to Uganda, Rav Shankar, says the embassy is to sponsor short-term training of Ugandan medics. The ambassador says Indians in Uganda are working hard to ensure Ugandans and the country's economy continues to improve. Now, this was during the iftar dinner organized by the Bank of India at Fairway Hotel, Kampala district.
This is the holy month of Ramadan, and in the community a lot of people have been fasting, and this is a time when the message of peace, brotherhood and sacrifice is something that we all take from this month. Well, exchange of doctors and nurses is already taking place more and more through the private hospitals that are run by Indian owners. You know, there are a few hospitals which have been getting doctors from India, nurses as well. Separately, I can share with you that Government of India is sending Ugandan doctors, in fact African doctors, of them there are Ugandan doctors as well, to Apollo and Fortis and a couple of other Indian hospitals for short-term training courses to improve their skills. Salute their enterprise, their courage by creating wealth, by generating employment, and I think the Indian business community here has been setting an example.
A sub-county chief of Luweero district has failed to account for funds meant for opening of community access ward Nyimbwa sub-county to the changring of a Baraza forum that was held in the area. The office of the Prime Minister organized the Baraza forum. Bossa Donozio failed to convince the crowd on how he spent 12 million on a 2-kilometer road. Take a look.
A Baraza forum held at Nyimbwa sub-county in Luweero district by the office of the Prime Minister amused crowds as a sub-county chief for Nyimbwa, Bossa Donozio, failed to satisfy them on how he spent 12 million shillings on a 2-kilometer road. The gathering insisted that the chief accounts for money before leaving the floor of accountability.
I don't agree with the chief. This is just a total lie, and he must account for the money. 12 million for 2 kilometers. I don't know whether even a blind person can explain 2 kilometers. Yet you said you spent 12 million. Even Maram. No, he has not even brought the culverts for the road.
That is a lot of money. We use tractors. They always charge us 200,000 shillings per acre. How can you tell me that 2 kilometers take 12 million Ugandan shillings? That is unfair. We are exhausted, corrupt leaders. That is unfair. Moreover, in a village,
Donozio later defended himself by saying that the cost of machinery was a little bit expensive.
You see, people technically, when they look at a road, they don't know that even getting the tractor from where it is to the site takes over $1 million. Because our tractors are residing in Luweero, but to get the fuel, there is no low bed in the district.
This was at a community accountability meeting officiated by Minister of State for Local Governments, Jennifer Namuyangu.
I've talked about the roads. I agree the roads are not very good because it has been raining, and our people are keen to see that the money is used very, very well. Even those who have bought inputs like the heifers, the piglets, they ready the list, and our people now know who bought these inputs.
Report compiled by Joseph Okao.
Now, Uganda has lost over 30% of its wetlands in the last 15 years. However, the recent wetlands restoration initiative embarked on by the government of Uganda and UNDP is beginning to yield some results. This is particularly evidenced at Limoto wetland in the eastern Ugandan district of Palise, where a degraded swamp has been restored.
These disturbing images were taken from the scene of a nasty accident at a wetland somewhere in Uganda's western district of Kasese in 2017. Apparently, heavy rains had washed away the bridge that connected two adjacent villages. In the neighborhood, a homestead was seen flooded, a scene that is not attractive at all.
Well, it's very unfortunate that we have lost a road connecting to the big hotel of International Hotel. This road needs quick action to be made.
These are some of the effects of wetland encroachment that have befallen the country, a status quo that has not spared Palisa district in eastern Uganda. This is Limoto wetland, which is part of River Mporogoma ecosystem between Palisa and Kiboko districts. It covers about 35 square kilometers, straddling in 5 sub-counties of Kadama, Kiboku, Tirinyi, Buseta and Kasasira.
The system mainly is part of the Lake Choga Basin, and the water which drains into the system comes from Mount Elgon through Sipi, and it passes through Taleja up to here.
For the last 20 years, this wetland was a rice-growing hub.
Around 1995 is when we saw rice cultivators encroaching on it. And the whole area, the whole Limoto wetland, was turned into rice gardens.
Palisa has about 336 square kilometers of wetlands, 66 of which are permanent, while 265 are seasonal. Limoto is one of those permanent. Unfortunately, rice growing as a result of encroachment came with its own ecologically connected effects, most of which were negative.
The rice they were growing were mainly paddy rice. You know, paddy rice requires a lot of water. They were looking for land, fertile land. And two, they were also looking for water. They wanted water, which can help them grow the paddy rice. And rice is a very popular enterprise here, popular crop here, because of it fetches more money than the other crops that the farmers grow.
Effects of this encroachment had gone beyond any individual control.
Degradation had affected the wetland and also the lake, because it has a connection with some lakes.
And the major activity within these wetlands is rice growing.
Such concerns could have prompted relevant authorities to intervene. These interventions saw the establishment of alternative sources of livelihood, including dairy and fish farming.
Even the people themselves, they are not the other people of 2014. They are not hungry like they were. They are not thirsty. We have had the water throughout. So that goes that the timing was that, and we are so happy, mostly with our environment officer, because I was with him since 2014, telling the people to leave fishing. I mean, like the biblical story, When leave fishing, let's go and fish the people. Leave the other fishing of the lake. Leave the swamp, you come and we look for a solution. That has been our gospel.
It is that similar gospel that caught the attention of Gunduma Edirisa, a private guard who oversees the safety of this fish pond. He not only learned to dig a fish pond, but also making optimum use of a small-scale piece of land for economic purposes.
Kituwairo kwega ate bona bakiyawoneraku embeera gitwabaire mneshaagi nugitulimu shingo obotegera tete tosola kulingiriza ndotaka kwa kulima mwigabe.
It is reported that before Limoto wetland restoration, over 8,000 rice farmers had encroached on delicate water catchment area. Progress might be visible in this initiative for all to see, but one wonders whether all stakeholders share the same point of view.
The project has taken up what would have been the role of the district to ensure that there is improved household incomes. And then secondly, because of the modern approach to farming that the project has introduced, we think that as a district we are going to use the project as a demonstration area that we can take our farmers to learn modern ways of farming.
It has regained its natural cover, parts of it, and now those who graze can also graze, because grazing doesn't take doesn't do a lot of damage. So people have started grazing in the wetland on the periphery, and I think everybody is now seeing the advantage.
Wetland restoration is an extension of a much wider intervention by National Environment Management Authority in partnership with UNDP. It was embarked on a couple of years ago across the country, as also recently seen in Chenjojo district. But with Uganda's population growth currently at about 40 million people, mounting pressure on available land resources, it will be a tall order to restrain encroachers. Henry Okurut, UBC.
Thank you so much, Henry Okurut. Moving on, close to 450 million has been extended to Bujinyanya Zonal Agriculture and Development Institute by Korean Program on International Agriculture. This timely intervention is meant for boosting up of the agro-technologies of pastures in Bugisu and Sebei sub-regions.
Farmers in Bugisu and Sebei sub-region have been grappling with scarcity of pasture, leading to poor quality livestock and a decline in milk production, especially during the dry seasons.
We have been struggling to see that we preserve pastures for the animals. We have enough pasture for the animals. Now when this project comes, it comes in with new interventions, and we believe that shall bring changes in our production department.
However, soon or later, this will be a story of the past, as Bujinyanya Zonal Agriculture and Development Institute received close to 630 million shillings from Korean Program on International Agriculture for enhancing research of pasture and peace fields.
We are going to conduct about the new products from the July of this year about the pasta seed productions and the resilient high yield field peas. So I have a lot of expectations for the two new projects. Thank you.
The final output of this project is expected to benefit all the farmers in the country.
Like maybe it is a dry season, it may not be enough, but now I'm happy because of this project. I am going to learn more about how to sell, how to get more production, and I feed my cows.
If we can able to get a good variety of this cow peas, we shall plant more and we benefit in this project. And even this country will be very happy, and we shall be extended the project, and even more farmers benefit.
Korean program of international agriculture started 5 years ago with an aim of improving the household incomes of farmers in the country. Report compiled by Joseph Okau.
In our sports stories, the three-day International Sports Law Seminar has climaxed with delegates proposing 9 recommendations, notable of which is an African Region Center for Arbitration. Take a look.
Over the past 3 days at Sheraton Hotel Kampala, delegates from over 20 countries have deliberated a couple of issues, but all in line with the sports law and how to make it applicable and realistic. This was during the 3rd International Sports Law Seminar. At its end, delegates have zeroed on 9 recommendations, notable of which is formation of an African Regional Center for Arbitration.
2, an African Regional Sports Dispute Resolution Mechanism should be established. Again, we shall try to truncate this. We're not saying these are in order of priority date, but we kind of realize and try to mitigate the level of ambition that we are talking about. 3, an African Regional Network and Association of Sports Legal Practitioners.
Uganda Olympic Committee President William Blick is the main disciple of the Regional Arbitration Center, which he believes is possible if the nations agree.
From the National Olympic side, I think it's important that we continue to educate the legal framework within the National Olympic Committees, and I'm very happy we have up to 20 different people representing the various National Olympic committees.
But for the Africa Regional Arbitration Center to be realistic, many legalese must be realized by all countries.
The first issue that comes to mind is one of financing. It has to be very well financed. It has to be independent of policy-making decisions so that it attains the respect that it requires. But also the other thing is that there's got to be consensus across the region that the court will have the respect it deserves and that people will be willing to submit disputes to that court.
The seminar attracted both foreign and local delegates who are appreciative of the aims of the project.
The new element of esports has also been a very important revelation, because even in Uganda we have so many young boys, youth, engaged in computer games, Nintendo, Battle of the Legends, the FIFA Pro, online games, which are a billion industry, a multi-billion industry. So as lawyers involved in this, we are been enlightened. But importantly is the need to train as many lawyers as possible and also train the judges in this particular area, because we are advocating for creation of an arbitration center for sports disputes in Africa and in Uganda.
I've been privy to the 2nd and 3rd, and basically today's was more enriching. There were elements of anti-doping, which I believe are very key, and we need to probably enlighten our athletes more so that they actually get to know what exactly anti-doping is all about. We need to put into measures, and as government, with the coming into force of the new law, which is the PASS bill, it has actually catered for anti-doping, and we hope once the legislation is put into place, the agency will be established and we are able to regulate doping in Uganda.
The 3-day seminar with prominent instructors like Professor John White, Sarah Ochwada and Dave Kuma tackled notable areas like human rights and corruption in sport. John Burns, Centum, reporting.
The National Handball League has entered match day 7 with an action at Mandela National Stadium. In the games played, Uganda Prisons won the Forces Ladies Derby against Uganda Police with a delicious scoreline of 30-21 in a game Prisons was thankful to Lillian Agio for her overall exploits. The biggest win of the day among the ladies was Ndeje University that got a 25-21 victory over Nkaja to cement it in second place on the log led by Nkumba University that had its game against Chengenza postponed due to weather. In the men's category, Ndeje University men hoppers broke no sweat in a walkover against Mukono Lions that took them atop the standings with 10 points. In the other men's game played, Prisons walloped Chengenza 67-23 to improve their chances of winning the league this year. Now the other postponed games, including Police versus Prisons and Evergreen against Makerere in the men's category, will be rescheduled after competitions committee meeting on Tuesday. In more sports news, the fifth leg of the 2019 Corporate Games season has attracted more than 20 companies competing in football, netball and volleyball. The action at Mandela National Stadium, Nambole, was intense as teams aim for the summit in most of the disciplines. Take a look.
For our fifth outing, most corporates have come in big numbers. As we promised them that we have got 12 disciplines. Today we have netball, volleyball, we have football, and we brought in new games, that is paintball shooting and chess. Of course, we have the normal aerobics in the morning that starts from 8 to 9, and later on the cool down. I can assure you, corporates now believe in us because we told the people that our ultimate objectives as corporate games is to ensure that we bring corporates out of their desks, do sport, and improve on their physical fitness. Corporates have started coming with their children, and children are engaged. When children come here, we have people who train these children so that they're able to tap their talents. Today, as our fifth outing of the corporate games, we want to ensure that the corporates, when they come here, we really engage them in all these activities. Right now, people are all busy with games, and even new companies are coming on board. We already have today NRM Hall as a new company that has come on board because they believe in us. They know that as corporate games, what we tell the public, we ask them to come and see the action.
Thank you so much for watching UBC News tonight. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin at 10 p.m. Before we sign out, let's take a look at the headlines. Lango MPs call for faithful renewal. In more news, Limoto wetland restoration registers progress. Bujinyanya receives 630 million for enhancing pasture production. That's all we had for you for now. Please do join us again tomorrow as we celebrate Matters Day, and UBC TV will bring you everything live. I will leave you with the weather.
Hello there, hope you're enjoying your weekend. I'm Sharon Nakaji today with the latest weather report from Uganda National Meteorological Authority. Now there's still a continuation of rainfall activities across most parts of Uganda. That's why today morning by 9 a.m. Tororo reported 20.5 millimeters, Entebbe reported 6.1. As for our capital city Kampala, it was 1 millimeters. The rain belt is still over our country Uganda. That's why tomorrow morning we are forecasting light showers along the western stretch, Kotido and Moroto. Elsewhere, we shall have sunny intervals. During the course of the afternoon, we shall have a pickup of light showers in Gulu, Lira, Soroti, while in Jinja and Tororo, we are forecasting sunny intervals. Temperatures are expected to rise up to 30 degrees Celsius in the northeastern parts of Uganda. That includes Karamoja and Kotido. As for Entebbe, Jinja and Tororo, we are forecasting 26 degrees Celsius, while Kabale Highlands, we shall have 24 degrees Celsius. For international weather forecast, we are forecasting light rains in Nairobi at 24 degrees Celsius. Beijing will be cloudy. Temperatures will rise up to 32 degrees Celsius. As for New York and London, it will be bright and sunny. That is all I had for you for today. Till tomorrow, have a great week ahead of you.